policies have been very successful, and so we're going to continue that in the future. I don't know how I got on that subject, but are there any more questions?
Yeah, there's one more. Question from Prasad. Babaji, this is Prasad from San Jose. Haribo.
Oh yeah, you asked a question the other day.
My question, why is the memory of previous lives diminished upon birth? Can we access prior life memories like acts that caused prarabdha karma whose results we reap now?
Why would you want to do that? I mean, the memories of this lifetime are enough of a burden to have to carry around in the form of material impressions. The memories of all the previous lifetimes would make it so difficult to overcome our material conditioning. Try to understand, the quality of our consciousness depends on the quality of the impressions that we carry in our minds. Every moment we have so many impressions coming into the mind, and these are stacked up in associative trees. That's how the mind works, that's how the mind is structured. So when we have so many impressions of material quality, then the mind is like a mirror. You've often heard that expression, the mirror of the mind. And consciousness is also like a mirror. And the quality of the reflection of that mirror is dependent on the quality of the impressions. So when we have many, many material impressions in the mind, then the quality of our consciousness is influenced, and it reflects a more materialistic cast or a more materialistic viewpoint on reality. And to overcome that, we chant and hear the holy name again and again and again and again and again. Why? To build up spiritual impressions in the mind, so that the spiritual impressions eventually overcome the material impressions. Prabhupada used to use the example of a cup of coffee. If we take a cup of coffee and we start pouring milk into it, and we pour the milk until the coffee overflows, and then we keep pouring milk, eventually the cup will be full of only milk. So the mind is like the cup, and the coffee is like the material impressions in the mind. So if we keep pouring spiritual impressions, which are like the milk, then eventually the mind will be full of only spiritual impressions, and our consciousness will be influenced in a very beneficial way. So this life, we already have so many material impressions. Imagine if we also had all the impressions from previous lives. Why do we need to know the source of the prarabdha karma? Prarabdha karma means the karma that is due to fructify in this life. I'm an astrologer, so when I do an astrology reading, I can see, especially by the yogas in the chart, exactly what the results of the person's previous karma are. So just by looking at that, I can tell, are they basically a pious person, or are they basically a materialistic person, or what kind of a consciousness they have by the residue of their previous activities. It's very easy to see if a person is basically pious, spiritual, or materialistic just by looking at their chart. Very, very few indicators that can figure out in a minute or two whether the person is basically spiritual oriented or not. And this is because the configuration of the chart, and especially the yogas in the chart, show the prarabdha karma. How much is material, how much is spiritual, how much is auspicious, how much is inauspicious. Just by looking at a glance, practically, you can see. So if this is true, then we can understand that the general quality of the person's activities in the previous life or lives were either auspicious or inauspicious, or some mixture of both. Usually it's a mixture. And you can see approximately what proportion is auspicious and inauspicious. Actually, because of who I am, most of the people who come to me are very spiritual minded, and it's a pleasure to do their charts and see how, what nice karma they have. But there's also people who have really bad karma in their charts, very inauspicious yogas and stuff like that. And those are due to their bad previous activities. So you can more or less guess, you can more or less understand just by looking at the chart, or without looking at the chart, just by looking in your mind, you can understand what type of karma or what type of impressions or what type of activities or results of activities that you bring into this life with you. So that tells you what quality those activities were. You don't need to know the specific activities. It's just like when you get your bank balance at the end of the month. You see, oh, I had so much income and so much expenses, and here's the balance. You don't need to know the specific expenses, although you can inquire into it and get an itemized statement if you really need to. But that's overanalyzing. You see, if you had to go into every bit of karma in your chart and analyze, well, what was the cause of this, what was the cause of that, in the previous life, that would just add to our materialistic burden. We want to lighten that burden. We want to dissolve those material impressions. And the best that's how come I have no mind. No, that's how come the pure devotee's mind is actually full of Krishna only. He doesn't think of his past material activities. Doesn't want to think of them. Why? They're all painful. Why would you want to think of things that are only painful? Materialistic activities are painful when you first think of them, when you desire them, and then they're painful when you actually perform them, and then they're painful when you get the result in the form of karma. So why do you want to think on all these painful things? Why not think of beautiful, pleasurable things like Krishna and pastimes and rasa and this beautiful philosophy and so many beautiful things? This fascination on the past and material things and karma, to me, from my perspective, it's like neurotic. It's like, why would you want to beat yourself up like that? Why don't you just think of Krishna and forget all that nonsense? Forget who you are in the material world, because it's nothing but pain from beginning to end. So don't be fascinated and occupied with these painful thoughts. Instead, think of Krishna. This is pleasure from beginning to end. There's nothing about Krishna that's inauspicious. There's nothing about Krishna that isn't beautiful. There's nothing about Krishna that's imperfect or limited in any way. So let's just think of Krishna and then chant his 1,000 holy names. Krishna. Okay. So that's it? There's no more questions, huh?
Yeah, that's
good.
We lost connection for a minute.
Oh, okay. It's back now?
Yes.
Okay. Om Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha Shrutva dharmana sheshena pavanani cha sarvashaha Yudhishthira shantanavam purareva bhyabhashata Yudhishthira Uvacha Kimekam daivatam loke kim vapyekam parayanam Stuvanta kankamarchanta prapnuyurmanava shubham Ko dharma sarvadharmanam bhavata paramo mataha kinchapan muchyate janturjanma sansara bandhanat. Shri Bhishma Uvacha Jagat Prabhum Deva Deva Manantam Purushottamam Srivannama Sahasrena Purusha Satatothitaha Tameva Charchayam Nityam Bhaktya Purushamavyayam Dhyayan Stuvannamasyans Chayajamanas Cha Anadi Nidhanam Vishnum Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Lokadhyaksham Stuvan Nityam Sarvadukkhati Go Bhavet Brahmanyam Sarvadharmadhyam Lokanam Kirtivardhanam